There's something almost magnetic about zombie games. Maybe it's the chaos, the fight to survive, or just the guilty pleasure of smashing rotting skulls. Whatever the reason, when done right, the genre delivers tension, action, and downright unforgettable moments. Doesn't matter if it's open world, fixed camera, or co-op, there's always room for one more infected. So gear up, because this list is packed with titles you'll want to play before the apocalypse hits. And now I want to hear from you. Drop a comment with your favorite zombie game. I'm Jax, and if you're new around here, welcome to Play Hunters. If you feel like subscribing to help the channel grow, I'd really appreciate it. Now enough talk, let's jump right in. You wake up in a ruined world, and before you can even process what's happening, you're already running, climbing, and fighting for your life. Dying Light 2, Stay Human, waste no time. The chaos has begun, and you're stuck right in the middle of it. The city is brutal, filled with dangerous creatures and even worse people. The tension never lets up, and from your first desperate escape, the game pulls you in. The parkour system is a show in itself. Hopping between rooftops, sliding across ledges, and escaping by inches becomes second nature fast. The combat, brutal and satisfying. Smashing a zombie's face with a wrench has never felt this good. But once night falls, everything changes. Fear creeps in, infected grow more feral, and every step in the dark is a risk you feel in your gut. Sure, not everything hits perfectly. Some missions drag, and a few choices don't impact the world as much as promised. But the game keeps you hooked with its intense atmosphere and non-stop sense of urgency. Forming alliances, choosing sides, and shaping the city with your decisions brings constant variety. There's always something at stake, always something lurking. Despite the flaws, it's easy to see why so many got addicted. You get caught in a loop of survival and exploration that just works. Each new district reveals more threats, more secrets. You start out running for your life and end up owning the rooftops, blood-stained and armed to the teeth. In the middle of chaos, survival isn't about luck, it's about choices. Our Darkest Days drops you into a devastated city where every step could be your last. The tension doesn't come from jump scares, it comes from silence, hunger, and the fear of losing those you're trying to protect. You'll need to build a shelter, make tough moral decisions, and deal with painful losses. And the scariest part, the zombies aren't always the biggest threat. The pacing is slower, more tactical, but deeply engaging. This isn't an arcade-style sprint. You manage people, supplies, and internal conflict. The atmosphere is suffocating, and even the daily routines inside your base feel gripping. The visuals may look simple at first glance, but they fit the tone perfectly. It's easy to get attached and even harder to let go. Every character has weaknesses and secrets. One might snap, another could betray you, or just die for stepping outside at the wrong time. That emotional layer keeps you tense, always wondering how far things will go, and the worst part, there are no right answers. You can't save everyone, and sometimes the choices you make will haunt you. This isn't for those who just want to mow down hordes, but if you're after a more grounded, emotional survival story, this is something special. It's not lighthearted, but it gives you something most games don't: emotional weight. And when it's over, what sticks with you isn't the zombies, it's the choices you made along the way. Few games have managed to come back this strong. Resident Evil 4 Remake didn't just keep what made the original amazing, it polished everything with love and respect. The atmosphere is thicker, the combat tighter, and the pacing absolutely spot on. From the first chaotic village fight, it's pure tension and adrenaline all the way through. The mechanics were modernized without losing the soul. The parry system with the knife changes everything in combat, and the weapon variety is still top-notch. The game nails the balance between action and exploration, always throwing something new at you. Even longtime fans will be surprised by what's been reimagined. The visuals deliver a dark, immersive tone with dynamic lighting and danger lurking in every detail. Enemies are smarter and more aggressive, forcing you to stay sharp. The pacing never slows down, it's one intense moment after another, with that addictive just one more section feeling. You might think you know the story, but this version makes it feel brand new. This isn't just a remake, it's a full-on reconstruction, crafted with care and vision. If survival horror is your thing, this is the kind of game you start and don't stop until the credits roll. Imagine facing a zombie apocalypse while being a mother. Undying changes everything with that one detail. You're not just fighting to survive, you're preparing your son to live without you. The mother is infected. She knows her time is short, so every moment counts. Teaching him to cook, shoot, hide, time's always ticking, and every day brings a mix of love, fear, and urgency. The concept is simple but powerful. You explore, scavenge, face threats, but most importantly, you care for the boy. And the game hits hard emotionally, with peaceful moments often shattered by danger or heartbreak. The music helps set the tone, and the cartoony art style makes things feel lighter, but also more bittersweet. It may look like a typical survival game, but it delivers something rare: real connection. You start worrying about supplies and end up teaching your son how to make it on his own. It's not about killing zombies, it's about what you leave behind. That changes everything. This game hits you in the heart. Undying might not have the biggest budget or the flashiest combat, but it leaves a mark, not through fear or graphics, but through emotion and message. You'll finish it with your chest tight and, strangely, with your heart full. In just the first few minutes, The Last of Us Part 1 completely shatters expectations. The opening hits like a punch to the gut, throwing you straight into chaos without warning. And just when you think you'll get a moment to breathe, everything changes again. The emotional impact is sharp, intense, and crafted with mastery. It's impossible not to get pulled into that world right away. The gameplay stays on edge, always walking the line between stealth and action. Resources are scarce, enemies are terrifying, and one wrong move can be deadly. But what really grips you is the story. Every line of dialogue, every cutscene, feels like it came from a film, and none of it feels forced. The atmosphere is thick with tension and sorrow, pulling you deeper. The remake's visuals take everything up a notch. The ruined cities feel real, full of tiny details that tell their own stories. Movement is smoother, combat more responsive, and facial animations say more than words ever could. The connection with the characters hits hard and fast. This isn't just a game about zombies or action. It's about loss, about moving forward, about surviving when everything's gone. Even with so many great games out there, few grip you like this one. And when it ends, it really feels like you lived through something. A modern classic worth every minute. The atmosphere in Resident Evil Village pulls you in the second you step into the snowy town. That gothic horror vibe, the distant noises, the chill in the air, it all works to make you deeply, addictively uncomfortable. And when the enemies finally show up, the panic hits hard, the kind of panic you actually want to feel again. Gameplay smartly blends action with horror. You've got guns, sure, but you need to think carefully about when and how to use them. Exploration is rewarding, and the puzzles break the pacing in just the right way. It's not all shoot and run. You'll stop, plan, and try not to lose your mind. Each zone has its own memorable theme. From luxurious castles to grim caverns, everything is designed to surprise you. Enemy variety is solid, with intense boss fights and creepy encounters. And the sound design? Absolutely insane. Every noise makes you whip the camera around. Once you start, it's hard to put down. Even with some over-the-top story bits, the game keeps the energy high. Resident Evil Village is intense, scary, and incredibly fun. If you love a mix of tension and action, this one delivers and leaves you wanting more when it's over. Plenty of people were quick to call the Callisto Protocol a Dead Space clone, but anyone who played it knows it has its own voice. This one's all about brutal melee combat, and smashing monsters to pieces feels incredibly satisfying. The world is grim, dirty, and claustrophobic, and that silence speaks volumes. Combat is the heart of it. You have to time your dodges, use the environment, and measure every swing. Running and gunning won't get you far. It makes everything feel more personal, more violent, more intense. Each enemy encounter is survival, not just a shootout. Visually, the game is stunning. Every inch of the setting is packed with detail, facial animations are scarily lifelike, and lighting is used to crank the immersion way up. Voice acting helps a ton too, with performances that pull you in. Even skeptics find themselves tensed up, gripping the controller, and sweating through every scene. It's not perfect, but it delivers on its promise: fear, tension, and brutal combat, and when it ends, you're left thinking, damn, that was intense. If you're into dark sci-fi and gritty survival, this one's well worth your time. Right out the gate, Dead Island 2 makes its goal clear: over-the-top zombie action with creative violence. The opening is explosive, literally, and you're instantly surrounded by chaos in a blood-soaked, sun-drenched version of Los Angeles. The setting is wild, the tone is playful, and the game leans into its absurdity with confidence. It knows what it is and has fun with it. Combat is the star. The dismemberment system is wildly satisfying, with different reactions depending on how and where you strike. The focus is on melee, making every fight intense and visceral. It's messy in the best way. The controls are responsive, and enemy physics keep things fresh. Before long, you're hooked on finding new ways to destroy the undead. Sure, the story is thin, and the progression could be more rewarding. Some objectives get repetitive, and the humor might not hit for everyone. But none of that stops the game from excelling where it counts mindless, chaotic fun. If you're just here to kill zombies in ridiculous ways, this is exactly what you need. Dead Island 2 is the perfect game to shut your brain off and dive into hours of zombie carnage. It's not deep, but it's incredibly fun and addictive. A bloody playground where creativity is your best weapon, worth every second. Few games ramp up the tension as fast as Resident Evil 2 Remake. You're barely through the intro and already trapped in the RPD station, with creaking doors, flickering lights, and heavy footsteps echoing all around. Fear kicks in early and never leaves. The atmosphere is thick, claustrophobic, and rich in detail, forcing you to slow down and dread every corner. Gameplay perfectly balances classic horror with modern fluidity. It's a thrill to explore, solve puzzles, and manage your resources, always under pressure. Combat is tight, every bullet matters, and the layout of the station forces you to backtrack in clever ways. It's the kind of horror that demands patience and planning with just the right bursts of action. Visually, it's a stunner. Light and shadow add to the fear, and enemies react in lifelike, terrifying ways. The audio work is next level, groans, footsteps, and distant knocks keep your nerves frayed. It all comes together to create a top-tier survival horror atmosphere. This game knows what the genre needs and delivers. Even with some changes to the original, the remake is a masterclass in how to revive a classic. It honors the legacy while updating everything beautifully. If you're into horror, tension, and that feeling of always being one step from death, this one's essential. It doesn't take long for Back 4 Blood to prove it's going to be a wild ride. The game kicks off in pure chaos, you and 3 teammates mowing down relentless hordes. There's yelling, explosions, sprinting through madness. It's non-stop action with that perfect everything's going to hell vibe. If you love unpredictable co-op mayhem, this hits the mark. What makes it stand out is the card system that changes each mission's conditions. No 2 runs feel the same, which keeps things fresh. One card might flood the map with enemies, limit your ammo, or throw in crazy modifiers. You have to adapt on the fly, and with friends, it becomes pure chaos. Every corner brings new tension and lots of laughs. The game looks solid too. Levels have plenty of variety, blood effects are satisfyingly over the top, and monster designs keep you on your toes. Sure, things can get repetitive in solo play, but that high energy and constant threat make up for it. The fun never really stops. It's just loud, dumb, and awesome. It's not the perfect successor to Left 4 Dead, but Back 4 Blood has its own style. With explosive action, wild gunfights, and tons of personality, it's a blast, especially with friends. If co-op carnage is your thing, this one delivers big time. State of Decay 2 doesn't waste time. Right from the start, you're thrown into the apocalypse, low on supplies and forced to make tough choices. The goal is clear: survive, build your base, and deal with threats both inside and out. The tension never lets up because this isn't just about killing zombies, it's about keeping your group alive, fed, and motivated. Every choice matters, and that makes everything more unpredictable. Gameplay revolves around survival and managing your community. You'll explore the map, gather resources, and make decisions that directly affect your group. There's combat, of course, but it's not about going in guns blazing. Managing supplies, knowing when to flee, and avoiding internal drama are just as important. Every move counts, and the game rewards smart planning. The visuals may not be the most stunning, but they do a great job of portraying a broken, dangerous world. The sound design ramps up immersion, especially at night when fear takes over. The constant instability keeps you on edge, and since each playthrough is different, it keeps you coming back for new strategies. Despite bugs and systems that could be smoother, there's a lot to dig into. State of Decay 2 is a mix of tension, planning, and action. It's not perfect, but it delivers something rare in zombie games. If you enjoy chaos that you control through strategy, it'll hook you fast. It's hard not to feel the weight of a classic when starting Resident Evil Remake, but within minutes, the game proves it's worthy of the legend. The mansion, dark, eerie, and full of secrets, feels like a character in itself. Every hallway hides traps, puzzles, or enemies waiting in silence. And even if you played the original, everything here feels new and scarier. The atmosphere is brilliantly crafted, and the sense of dread never leaves. Gameplay sticks to the tank-style roots, but adds smart updates. Solving puzzles while rationing ammo is part of the thrill. The fixed camera, which may seem outdated, actually works in its favor, delivering perfectly timed scares. The slower pace heightens the fear. You never quite know whether to run, fight, or hide, and that doubt sticks with you from start to finish. The remake modernizes everything without losing its soul. The graphics are gorgeous, the lighting is masterfully used, and enemy designs are as grotesque as they should be. The mansion's full of subtle details that demand cautious exploration. It's more psychological horror than jump scares, and that works beautifully. The audio pulls its weight too. Every echo sounds like a threat. Resident Evil Remake is a textbook example of how to update a classic with boldness and respect. One of the greatest horror games ever made, and even years later, it still makes you sweat. Days Gone opens with a heavy tone. You feel right away that the main character carries a burden, and the world only adds to it. Empty roads, thick forests, and crumbling buildings paint a convincing end-of-the-world picture. But what really grabs you is the motorcycle. It's how you cross the map, outrun hordes, and stitch together a journey full of loss and resistance. Gameplay mixes action and stealth with a strong focus on survival. The zombie hordes are a show on their own. Being chased by hundreds at once is pure panic. You need to plan your attacks and use the environment smartly. There's plenty of side content and exploration, making the game long and packed with variety. Even with some repetitive mechanics, the story holds strong. Many dismissed it at launch due to bugs and a slow start, but over time, those issues were patched, and the game revealed its heart. The bonds with other characters, the personal struggles, and those quiet moments on the road create a real connection. That's rare in most open-world games. Days Gone may not be perfect, but it sticks with you after it's over. It gets better the longer you play, delivering moments that hit hard. If you haven't given it a chance, you might be missing one of the most underrated games of its generation. World War Z Aftermath doesn't hold back. You're immediately thrown into chaos, bullets flying, and zombies flooding the screen. And we're talking hundreds of them. The game knows the zombie apocalypse should be brutal and throws you right into the storm. Even though it's built for co-op, playing solo with bots is still a good time. This is pure non-stop action for those who love the heat. It plays like Left 4 Dead with squad missions, frantic shooting, and that rush to escape. But it brings new ideas, class progression, weapon customization, and more dynamic missions. Every run feels slightly different. You pick your role, prep for the fight, and then face off against terrifying waves. It genuinely feels like survival. Visually, the game impresses. The engine handles massive zombie swarms effortlessly. Cities are detailed, and the soundtrack amps up the tension at all the right moments. It's built to make your heart race, and it works. Even without a deep story, the short narratives for each squad add a nice touch. World War Z isn't trying to rewrite the genre. It just delivers what it promises: intense action, thrilling shootouts, and large-scale zombie mayhem. It's pure fun, and that's more than enough. Few games are as crazy and addictive as Dead Rising Remaster. You're dropped into a zombie-infested shopping mall with zero context and total freedom. It's chaotic, silly, and surprisingly fun. And even in all the madness, you'll find yourself exploring every corner, saving bizarre survivors, and figuring out what insane weapon combo to build next. The sense of freedom is wild. Using frying pans, bowling balls, or mascot heads as weapons is ridiculous, but weirdly satisfying. Everything becomes a toy in a world gone wrong. But there's also urgency. Time's ticking, and you can't save everyone. You're forced to make tough calls or just ignore it all and enjoy the mayhem. Even remastered, the charm is fully intact. This isn't about realism, it's about style, chaos, and personality. Each mall zone has its own feel, and curiosity drives your exploration. It's almost like a B-movie, and that's part of its charm. You'll laugh, even while everything burns down around you. This game isn't trying to be epic or emotional, it just wants you to have fun. And it nails it. Dead Rising Remaster is that perfect brand of organized chaos, and before you know it, hours have passed, and you're still trying to make a new weapon out of a parasol and a chainsaw. Few games make survival feel as real as 7 Days to Die. From the first minute, you feel the weight of a world that's already given up. You start naked, alone, and every mistake can kill you. Every step feels watched, like something's always about to grab you. The game doesn't hold your hand, and that's exactly what makes it gripping. The core idea is simple: prepare, because every 7 days, a violent horde will come for you. There's no scripted drama here. It's pure stress, sweat, and strategy. You build, scavenge, lay traps, and everything matters because that 7th night is always coming. And when it does, it's chaos. But it's not just tension. There's something addictive in the rebuild loop. Every day survived feels like a win. Every base, no matter how scrappy or fortified, reflects your playstyle. It doesn't matter if it's full of holes or a fortress, it's yours. That sense of ownership and progress keeps you playing for hours. Even with flaws like basic visuals or stiff controls, 7 Days to Die nails one thing: raw survival. It's not pretty, it's not easy, but it's real. And when you look back at what you built in that broken world, you feel real pride. Because in this game, just surviving is a hell of an achievement. I don't know any other games that have sparked as much debate as The Last of Us Part 2, and it's easy to see why. From the start, it throws you into a heavy emotional world filled with scenes that hit without warning. The atmosphere is dense, the pacing deliberate, and every moment feels loaded with meaning. It's impossible to play without feeling like something huge is at stake. The violence isn't for shock, it hurts. It's uncomfortable, it makes you stop and think, and even if the story splits opinions, the detail is undeniable. The animations, expressions, the way characters respond to the world, it all feels painfully real. It gets under your skin, even if you don't realize it right away. Gameplay evolved a lot. Stealth is smoother, combat is intense, and things can go wrong fast. And when they do, the game demands creativity. But what really hits is how bold it is. It didn't try to please, it told its story. And for many, that was a gut punch. The Last of Us Part 2 isn't a comfortable game, and that's why it works. It challenges you, breaks the mold, and makes you dwell on every choice. It may not be perfect for everyone, but it leaves a mark, and that makes it one of the most powerful games you'll ever play. Right from the start, No More Room in Hell 2 gives you that uneasy feeling. No HUD, no tutorial, just you, a dark map, and unpredictable zombies. It throws you straight into chaos and expects you to survive through instinct and teamwork. Every corner could be the end, and weirdly, that's what hooks you, like a beautiful kind of suffering. What's wild is how the game doesn't try to look polished or cinematic. The visuals are raw, the sound is sharp, and the tension never lets up. That's exactly what makes it intense. It's all about brutal realism, no aim assist, scarce ammo, and mandatory cooperation. Death comes fast, and you learn the hard way. But don't get it twisted, it's not unfair. It just demands focus, patience, and communication. In a group, the tension grows with every step, and surviving a full round feels like a win. It's like being inside an 80s zombie film without a script. Every match becomes a new story. Even as a more niche title, No More Room in Hell 2 delivers a one-of-a-kind atmosphere. No gimmicks, just raw tension. And when you're sweating just to unlock a door, that's when you realize this game means business. It may look simple, but it grips you hard. Dead Space 2 wastes no time. Minutes in, you're running through a hospital filled with grotesque creatures. The game never lets you breathe. Scare after scare, and that feeling of being hunted never leaves. The dark setting, the sharp sound design, everything keeps you on high alert. Unlike the first game, this one moves faster. Combat's tighter, weapons hit harder, and enemies are more varied. But the real horror isn't what you see, it's what you hear. A distant crawl, a muffled scream, it's enough to stop you in your tracks. The story dives deep into psychological horror. Over time, you begin to question what's real and what's a hallucination. The main character is tormented, and that dread spills over to you. Even with all the action, it's the emotional weight that lingers. It makes you feel small in the face of something unknowable. Dead Space 2 is relentless from start to finish. Even people who don't love horror end up hooked by the gameplay and design. It doesn't need to convince you with words, it wins through sheer intensity. And before you know it, you're deep inside that ship. Left 4 Dead 2 doesn't mess around. Within minutes, you've got a pistol in hand, zombies everywhere, and your teammates screaming, "Reload!" It's chaos. Pure, non-stop chaos. And that's exactly why it's so addictive. You don't play Left 4 Dead 2, you survive it. The campaign structure keeps things unpredictable, and the AI system changes every match's pace and enemy placement. You never know what's coming, and that randomness keeps it fresh. Years later, it's still one of the best co-op games for a good time with friends. The special infected changed the entire flow. One mistake can blow everything, but that tension, that's what makes it exciting. Finishing a stage, even barely, feels like a real win, and that feeling is what keeps you coming back. Left 4 Dead 2 is raw, honest, and insanely fun. It doesn't try to be deep, just throws you into the mess and lets you figure it out, and no other game has replicated that same intensity, pure zombie adrenaline. From the first steps in Stalker 2, you know you're somewhere else. It's not just the irradiated wasteland, it's how the world reacts to every move you make. Silence surrounds you. Wind cuts through the ruins. Everything feels like it's watching. No warm-up. You're just in it. The gameplay blends survival, shooting, and exploration with a documentary-like realism. You manage wounds, dodge strange anomalies, and survive with what little you find. No flashing HUD or objective markers, just you and the invisible danger. That's where the tension lives. Visually, it's stunning, not just in quality, but in mood. Missions don't follow a Hollywood arc, the atmosphere dictates the pace, and it's all about the journey, not the reward. It's raw, heavy, and real. S.T.A.L.K.E.R 2 isn't trying to please, it's built to test you, to make you feel lost, paranoid, and even defeated. And that's what makes progress so satisfying. A tense, unforgettable game, even in its quietest moments. If there's a game that hits you emotionally, it's The Walking Dead by Telltale. It doesn't need flashy graphics or frantic combat, it grabs you with choices and each one hurts. Within minutes, you care deeply about the world, the characters, and what could go horribly wrong. The writing is sharp, the pacing tight, and it forces you into impossible decisions. Soon you're knee-deep in moral dilemmas with no right answers. The pressure isn't from zombies, it's from trying to hold on to your humanity. Sometimes, you don't do what you want, you do what you must, and that sticks with you. Even with simple gameplay, every scene carries weight. The timer ticks, and every word matters. It's like watching an interactive series where you control the outcome and sometimes regret it. The emotional bond is strong. You don't walk away unchanged. The Walking Dead delivers drama few games can match, and even years later, you remember the choices you made. It's the kind of game that breaks your heart, but you're glad it did. A necessary punch to the gut. And tell me, what's the best zombie game you've ever played? The one that stuck with you? The one you always recommend? Let me know in the comments. I'm curious. And if you enjoyed this list, hit that subscribe button so you never miss out on the best the gaming world has to offer. I've left a card up top with a video covering the best games released in 2025. Check it out, I'm sure you'll love it. Thanks for watching, happy gaming, and I'll see you tomorrow.